affiliated with any other organizations or support groups or treatment programs or anything like that. We encourage them to go to meetings if they, need to do that, but we don't have any requirements for that.
You said there were house rules. Is there a curfew or are there restrictions on visitors or anything like that?
Just like every other house and every other family, yes.
How does that get enforced?
Well, we've just said that, we want people in by 11 o'clock on the weekends, because we don't want people coming in there late at night, and, again, when you have different bodies there and different people there, so we don't want them coming in, but we've never had a problem with, people showing up and being on time, and
Visitors?
or, it depends on, we don't want, again, I don't want to have 50 cars there, and so people visiting and stuff like that, so we, it's pretty much case by case, just again, like any family, hey, can somebody come over? They don't have to ask, for, specifically, but, we've had a couple of, barbecues and, again, limit the number of people who can come, so we're not parking on the street, not causing any traffic or any other kind of problems like that. So just functioning as a family.
Okay, and let's see. I think we've almost covered most of our questions. When did you get started with all of this?
June 10th.
June 10th of
2012.
This year. And at that point, how far along were you? I mean, did you have people living there at that point?
We had, yeah, and we had, that's when we put that flyer out, trying to, recruit people we think were good for our family. Just a tool we used.
Do you know how many people were there on June 10th when you started? That was obviously the beginning, right?
Yeah, so we started one at a time,
One at
so,
a time,
yeah.
so at some point you got up to where you are now, which is the 5.
Exactly.
So
And we want to be selective about, who's there, because we don't want, just like you would in your family or anybody's going to live in your home.
Did you ever have more than 5 in there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So right now it's about 5?
It is 5, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any agreements, documents that you would want to share with us?
No.
You have, you used to
No,
help
no.
organize your family?
No, I don't think that's, we have family agreements, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's pertinent. I think that's, really invasive and,
And you mentioned marketing materials. We sent you a copy of something that we received.
that was a tool that we used, try to, look for women who, would be a
It is
good
all
fit.
women that you're targeting.
Right.
Is that what the intent is?
That's what the intent is, yeah.
Adult women,
Yeah. I don't want
teenagers.
don't want sex going on between the people. That just goofs up, just like if you were in a, 4 people live in an apartment and 2 people start shacking up, it's a problem for the group, and so these are just general house rules and, families have. On Craigslist, you want a roommate, you designate women or men or either one, so same kind of thing.
And you've looked at the new ordinance, haven't you? I think we tried to make sure that you were aware of what was going on. I think we called you and sent you notices.
Yeah, it basically was, because I watched them, it was basically, hey, this is the property, we're gonna make sure nothing happens here. You can't do anything here except have a single-family residence, and that was it. And it was really disgusting and disappointing, but just really shows what, what this city council and their bias and they're bigoted, and, they essentially singled out this property, which is a unique property and had over nearly a 50-year history of helping people, and said this can only be a single-family residence. And so that's what we are. We're single-family residents. We're not doing anything else.
Do you have anything that you could show us that would pin down that start date, more specifically? Is there any kind of a flyer, document, letter?
I don't have,
Picture, anything that?
I don't know. And why?
Well, one of the issues we have to try to sort out is which ordinance applies. Because the, the new ordinance was adopted, it was adopted in end of May sometime. And then I think it went into effect in June.
Well, again, I don't think this applies to that. Do you think this applies to the new ordinance?
Well, that's what we're
From what
trying
I'm
to-
doing?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure
But
out.
do single-family residences with families have to apply to this? I mean, is there anything here that you think is,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
would
as
would
long
not
as
be
you're
subject?
consistent with that definition of family, that's really the key of what we're trying to find out.
Right, and I am. And I think that should be good enough. And there's, if there's not been any reports of noise or littering or traffic or any reports to the contrary to that, I really don't see that there's an issue. And if there is, I think I should be able to know who is saying it, who's pointing the finger, and figure out what the motives are. And I also want to make sure, I hope that, after our meeting today, that there's not going to be some other ordinance that the city of Pleasant Hill, comes up with to, further restrict, what I do with that property. As long as it's a family. This is clearly, it just seems so discriminatory and, it's
Well, we don't-
years,
we definitely don't intend, to
well, it sure feels like
feel
that.
that way.
Well, it sure feels like that,
We're just trying to find out.
There's so many things going on in this city, Greg. There is a auto repair shop right next door to me,
So
that
he's
the
still
city,
doing stuff?
the city's been aware of that for
Well,
years.
we've contacted.
And, that, he does that with regularity, again,
Gary, is that his name?
I don't know his name, I think he's just a crazy man, I don't wanna talk to him. You see those no trespassing signs and cutting down the trees and stuff like that, and then again, David Durant's, sign, or, a fence that you can look through so the drug addicts would go back there and put their needles in their arms and stuff like that. Just bizarre stuff like that, and, so he's a very annoying, human being, and then again, right in back of me, Percy's, large family, daycare center. They don't have off-street parking, they don't have adequate off-street parking, and if we talk about safety issues, that's on a blind court there, there's no place to turn around, drop off and pick up. This has been going on, and they're right around there, and they're pointing the finger, and we're so involved with this project, and then again, you guys established this ordinance so that I can't do anything there except have a family, and that's what we're having, but these things just continue to go on. It feels like a witch hunt, Greg, do the city council know that we're having this meeting? Who else knows? Does the city attorney know? Do you have to report back to these people?
Well, yeah, I wanted to kind